Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and this month is Black History Month, so a few times throughout it I'm going to be doing reviews for films in honor of that month. And today we are doing the 2016 film Hidden Figures. Here is your trivia question for today. NASA receives a new computer in the film. What brand is it? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So our film takes place in Hampton, Virginia in 1961. More specifically, it takes place at the Langley Research Center. Now, the story primarily focuses on three women that happen to work there that hold the position called computer. There's Katherine Johnson, who's very well versed in analytic geometry and has high hopes of making it further up in the company. Mary Jackson, who has aspirations of becoming an engineer. And Dorothy Vaughan, who wants to become a supervisor, which is a role she so rightfully deserves. Now, during their story, it's an important time in history, as we are trying to win the space race against Russia, and John Glenn is preparing to shoot off into the Friendship 7. Now, just as important when it comes to history, we are also seeing what's happening during the time when black men and women are having to deal with and try to overcome segregation. So, will these three extremely intelligent women not only help break down the barriers, but also get the credit they so rightfully deserve for helping win the space race? This movie was directed by Theodore Melfi. Melfi was actually up for the running as one of the possible directors for Spider Man Homecoming, but withdrew his name so he could do this film. The movie is based off of the book Hidden Figures, the story of the African American women who helped win the space race. Taraji P. Henson actually got to meet the real Katherine Johnson when she signed on for the film. Katherine Johnson actually approved of Henson's portrayal when she saw the screening. Now, of the three main characters, Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Dorothy Vaughan, only Johnson was alive when the movie was released. Apparently, at one point, both Oprah and Viola Davis were both up for one of the three main characters in this film. If you didn't know this, both Jim Parsons' character of Paul Stafford and Kirsten Dunst's character of Vivian Mitchell are not based on real people, but actually just a composite of different team members who worked at NASA. Did you happen to know that astronaut Neil Armstrong's son, Mark Armstrong, actually makes a cameo in this film as a member of the Space Task Group? In real life, John Glenn did in fact request that Katherine Johnson review the calculations, but in reality, this was weeks before the launch and not right before they were about to leave. Kevin Costner's character of Al Harrison in real life did not in fact tear down the signs showing the differences of the segregated bathrooms. Also in real life, Katherine Johnson did not actually cause a big scene about the segregated bathrooms. In fact, it was Mary Jackson who had a closer situation to this, where she had been using the whites only bathroom for years and didn't realize as it wasn't labeled. When someone finally noticed and said something, she ignored them and the issue was dropped. This film is not actually the first time that Taraji P. Henson and Mahershala Ali have actually played love interests. The first time was actually in the movie The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. If you weren't aware, one of the producers of this film is Pharrell Williams, who actually oversaw all of the musical elements of the film and the soundtrack. The house where Dorothy Vaughan lives in the film, and also where they do their little dance number, that's actually a historic house in Atlanta where the civil rights pioneer Ralph Abernathy and Martin Luther King met. The house where both Mary and Levi Jackson live was also used in the movie The Help from 2011. So when it comes to the film Hidden Figures, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was fascinating to see the background of what was happening during all of this, and I definitely feel that's a story not only that should be read, but also should be seen. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. And if you did enjoy this movie, here are other ones I recommend checking out: The Help, The Great Debaters, Men of Honor, and Apollo 13. Now, as for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode, NASA receives a new computer in the film. What brand is it? So this is back in a time when computers were so large that they practically filled an entire room instead of just fitting onto a desktop. And this one was made by IBM. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.